Hi, and welcome to the SJ Childs Show. I'm your host, SJ Childs. SJ Childs Show brings value to families through education, resources, and lots of laughs. You can find us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also find our special children's books at sjchilds.org. Thank you for all of those who have hosted me on your podcasts. Enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to the SJ Childs Show. I'm your host, SJ Childs, and I have a very special guest, author, mom, superpower woman, of course, all over the world I'm finding them. Wendy Kok, please, thank you. Say hello.
Hey, how are you doing? I'm so glad to be here on your show. Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here too. And I'm interested to talk about all your book and your podcast and just all the stuff we got going on today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Well, let's just kind of get an introduction. Tell us about yourself, where you're from, and what you're doing now in the world.
Well, I'm originally from Wisconsin, and currently I live in Michigan with my family. I have two sets of twins. The older set is 16. The younger set is in 8th grade. I work at the high school 4 days a week. I'm a podcaster, a writer as well. And right now it's just really hard to try to manage all of it, but I do. I love to write. I love podcasting. So I'm trying to figure all that out from day to day, and take care of the house and make sure there's food in the fridge, which it's very difficult. They're all teenagers. And I swear I come, from the grocery store, put it all on, on an island, and, within like a few minutes, they're just already in it. Stuff that I bought, like, oh yeah, like a cookie, it's all gone. The whole box is gone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but it's fun chaos.
Oh, that's what I say. I say our life is beautiful chaos, and I love it, and it's chaotic, and that's okay.
Yeah. And it's a busy time. But yeah, so I wrote a book. It's called A Gray Resort. So it came out summer of 2019, before all the business of the pandemic and things. But it's a labor of love. I worked on it for a good amount of time. About 8 years.
Wow.
And yeah, it took so long, I think, because I was in the throes of, I had two sets of twins, toddlers running around, but I always had this book on the back of my mind. I thought it would make a really interesting read. So it's based in my experiences when I grew up in a summer resort. So my parents had this resort, right? And it was about 5 miles out of town. They had 8 cabins. It was out in the woods. It was on a lake. And we also had a pool. So I didn't realize how good I had it.
Right?
We don't have any. Yeah, we don't have property on the water now or anything. I wish I did, but no, we don't. But they were just really wonderful people. They loved having gatherings. And so what would happen is on Saturdays, which were changeover days, so everyone that came to stay at a resort would check in. And my mom would go to each cabin, give them a chance to settle in and say, hey, we're going to have a picnic or whatever later on. Come on out, and my dad would get, his friends, and they would all get these picnic tables all along the lake. They put them all together, and everybody would come. And we had people from in town coming. We had neighbors coming. And I remember as a little girl just kind of like bumping into people. It was just a very fun atmosphere. My parents, I would often go with my dad to the grocery store. He would order, a bunch of food, like 2 or 3 dozen chicken, a bunch of corn on the cob. And then he would be like the grill master, make food for everybody. And sometimes people would come if they were hungry, and that was perfectly fine. We never ran out of food. And it was during the 70s and 80s, and it was just a really fun, free-spirited time. Afterwards, my dad would get his guitar out, and then there would just be this big old party. People would be singing, and it was just a fun time.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that's kind of the backdrop of it. but there's also a little stuff, there's like paranormal things that really did happen around that area. So that's kind of what I included in the book as well. So the book is fiction. I made up the town name, but it is based on a real town.
Yeah.
And so I kind of use that as the backdrop of the book, and it's been great. It's been really well received, and I can't believe it actually.
I love that. And where is it on Amazon? Just on all your book retailers?
So you can get it on Amazon. You can even look my name on Amazon, Wendy Kok, K-O-K, and look it up that way. Sometimes that's easier. I don't know, sometimes if you put in The Gray Resort, it won't come up. It's got to be A Gray Resort. So it's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target.com, Walmart.com,
Perfect.
Book Baby, Bookshop, wherever you can get books, really.
Love it. I love that. Oh, it sounds exciting. And just that story, oh my gosh, like I wish I could have been there. What a great experience.
You would have loved it. You would have loved it. My dad was very just a gregarious person. People were drawn to him, all kinds of people. And he loved all kinds of people, really. And it was just very fun. And some of the characters are in the book are really based on real people. Like there's a particular couple that I had in mind that they were our neighbors. They were great. They were so funny. The lady was just so very outgoing and just this huge spark of light. And the guy was very kind of sedate and shy.
Sounds like me and my husband.
Yeah. I don't know how they ended up together, but they did.
Opposites attract, right?
Yep. So they're kind of some of the main characters in the book. And I just have it where, a girl goes fishing one day and one evening on a summer night on the resort, and then kind of gets the shock of her life. So then it kind of transpires from there. Yeah.
Oh, I look forward to reading it, Wendy. I can't wait. It sounds so exciting. I'm already excited and like,
oh, cool.
mystery,
I'm so excited to have you read it.
Yeah.
I've gotten, I won an award for it.
Wonderful.
So it's from American Book Fest. I entered a few of these awards online and I couldn't even remember that I, entered it.
Yeah.
And it was like, so that was like 8 months later, like you won best, it was called, you won the winner in the romance / paranormal category.
Wow.
And,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was nice. And I love some of the feedback, I've gotten like just from like guys my age. Hey, I picked up the book. I love to fish. I saw it was from, you're from Wisconsin. He goes, it's not about fishing, but you know what? It was hard for me to put down. I'm like,
that's awesome.
Cool. Teenagers like it too. Nice. A couple of them. That's my favorite book. So that's kind of just what I was going for. I didn't want it to be a cheesy romance, although, it was category as paranormal romance. So I wanted it to be special, and I wanted it to be hard to put down. And I think I achieved that, which is great.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh. I'm very, very intrigued right now. Cool. That's perfect. Well, let's jump and talk about your podcast a little. The Juicy Pear, is that correct?
Yes. It's a Juicy Pear podcast with Sean and Wendy. So that came about like last summer. So my friend Sean and I, we were hanging out. We were listening to some music, and, it was during the summer, and, I thought, you know what, we have a wealth of experiences behind us. We should, talk about this. Wouldn't it be fun to have a podcast?
And you're so funny too. You guys are so funny together.
Okay. Thank you. We balance each other out really well. She's very pragmatic, practical person, but she's super fun too.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a, a hard left turn kind of a person. So she reels me in. So it's a nice balance there. And I think it really works. And I knew it would. That's why I said, we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
And she's had a lot of interesting things happen. So she had a brain aneurysm last year around February. I was in Nashville at the time with another friend, and I remember getting texts from and they're like, she's in the hospital. And I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, brain aneurysm. Anyway, we talk about that in one of our episodes. And what's interesting there is she never had any She never had any, like before, she didn't have a headache or anything. In fact, she had gone off with a retreat with her daughter, I think like literally like 2 days before, and everything was fine. She didn't feel bad. And it's just, oh God, she almost died. And
heartbreaking.
yeah, you can get like ill effects from that. And usually, and she made 100% recovery.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, and she's a praying person. She prays a lot. And I think that really had some impact.
To do with it. Give her a hug for me. Tell her I'm so glad she
I will.
made it through. Yay. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, she's great. She's great. We've had some great people on our show, all kinds of people like authors, musicians. We're going to interview a psychic this weekend.
Oh, great. I bet I just talked to him a couple nights ago.
Yeah. Artie?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's so great. Oh my gosh.
Did he read your character?
My son, actually, who has a photographic memory. Yeah, I'll talk about him a little bit in a little bit. But yeah, it was really interesting. He was like, I kind of, I thought he would read. I was a little bit like, oh, he didn't say anything but he probably did. He probably said stuff to me the whole time. And now I have to just go back and
right.
But unfortunately, he wasn't able to get onto the Zoom. And when I hooked up my audio, I didn't hook up my microphone.
Oh no.
So I only have me talking into the computer the whole time and not Artie. So I don't know if we'll do it or not. It's my first time it's ever happened to me ever. So
it happens.
Life, right? Trial and error.
Try again with them. Yeah.
He wasn't upset or anything. It's like we still had fun. We still had fun and talked. But yeah, he my son came in and he met him for a second. And the thing about DJ is at a time about maybe 5 years ago, he's only 11. So when he was around 6 years old, we already at that point knew he had a photographic memory, and we knew like his brain capacity and, the way it worked was beyond anything we could ever even try to imagine or understand.
Right.
And he would tell us about someone from the past, born between 1916 and 1942 or something around that he was telling us like, this was my name. This was what my name was then. This is who I was. And this is like how I died. Like he had, and so at the time, I mean, he's 6, you don't know if it's like, if it's real, but then again, he's extremely logical and very literal. Like he's not, his autism doesn't allow him to be, non-literal or tell fictitious stories, anything like that. He is extremely on track. And so, he told us that he was somebody named Fred Hoffman, who had died at the age of 41. And when he came in and met Artie, was like, did you remember, dying under fire? And he was like, yes. And they communicated about his previous life, my son's previous life. And he was saying how he had a wife, and he said, the wife looked just like you, and pointed to me. And how weird. And like, and I tried to search, the person, and I couldn't really find any information, but
wow, that's crazy. That I know. So, I mean, how would Artie know anything about that or what to say or how
wow. It was a very interesting conversation between the two of them. And then he said to me, he is going to be like the next Stephen Hawking. He will create something with mathematics, with numbers. And I mean, he was doing algebra when he was 5. So he does like physics and calculus at 11. I stay away from all of that number
I do too. I scratch my head against stuff.
We'll stick to the words. We'll be the wordsmiths of the families, and they can handle the numbers.
That's why it's
amazing.
Best. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's been a really, really interesting life, I'll tell you.
Very. I mean, how insightful to have that. That must have been like, I bet you were sort of in shock after the call. Like, did that just happen? Did you just do that?
And it was interesting because it just confirmed what he had already told us before. And so I was just like, okay, that makes it more believable. Not that I wouldn't not believe him, but it's still this air of not knowing. Yeah. And so it's so interesting. But yeah, he's a really great kid. He says that he remembers like being in the womb and remembers being born. It remembers like the light turning on, he says, kind of. And he was born C-section.
Okay.
And so in a sense that could have been, it was dark and then the lights on, right? I don't know. I really actually never spoke about this on this. So this is interesting to talk about.
Well, you probably feel safe because I had, when I was younger, I had to close the door on it a little bit, but I had sort of what you call the shining, the sixth sense. Yeah. I had, and at first it was very scary. And I was like, how am I privy to this kind of knowledge? Mm-hmm. I knew about things that I really shouldn't have known, when people close to me were going to die a couple weeks before. And I knew, I didn't know how they were going to die, but I just knew it was very, very significant. It was no question. I knew it was going to happen. And when it did, I thought like I was a bad person for knowing that. And people told me, that's a gift. That's a gift that you were given. Yeah. So it's not because you were a bad person. It's just, you get different gifts. Everyone has their own sort of gifts. Now I kind of had to close the door on it a little because it can be overwhelming and it can be kind of scary too. So, but I've always had pretty good insight with things. And I think everyone can if they just tap into it. I just think some people, are scared and don't want to, they don't want to go there.
I agree with that. Yeah, I do agree with that 100%. In fact, my husband and I totally are very spiritual, not religious at all. But we are completely into, energies, vibrations and things. Yes. And it was about 2 years ago, maybe even a year and a half ago or so, but we found these, and we've believed for a very long time. We watched The Secret years ago, but we found this sleep frequency music and we thought, okay, well, let's start to put this on. And we started listening to this, it's like cleanse your aura and realign your chakras while you're sleeping. And so we would listen to these. And oh my gosh, over time, we were finding not only were we sleeping like ridiculously good, and, my son comes in and wakes me up often, and I'd be able to just get up, help him, come back to sleep, fall back to sleep quick. So hard. Yeah. So rested. It's been the best. But we've also noticed that the vibration in our house is just raised, everything that is falling away is because it should be. And it's so interesting.
It is interesting.
Focus on those things.
Absolutely. I've always been in tune to energy and, when you notice something's not right, the air's heavy. Yeah. And it's very palpable, very in tune to that. And one daughter is really the same way. She's the one that had colic for goodness. She had it for about 18 months.
Oh, goodness.
Husband and I thought we were going to rip our hair out because it was so difficult. We were like, how is the earth getting populated? This is difficult because she just wouldn't stop crying. She just wouldn't, it was hard. I mean, every once in a while she would stop, but just after 2 hours of sleeping, she'd be at it again. And, I remember I had to walk, cradle, and sing. I had to do 3, because it just wasn't enough to walk her. It wasn't enough just to cradle. I mean, she's,
she wanted it all.
But she talks so much now. I think she was just so frustrated because she couldn't, we couldn't understand her, whatever. Yeah. She's a really good kid now.
That's amazing.
I know. So, but in the throes of that, it was difficult.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that too, because our son was just like, he was we have 3. I have a stepdaughter that I raised. So I don't have the experiences with her, the baby, but with our son, who was our first baby, he was so quiet. we had no idea that he had autism because we were like,
yeah.
he's the perfect quiet baby. What do you mean? Like,
Right.
this
Right.
isn't this great?
Yeah.
But then when he was still nonverbal at 4, it was
Okay.
a little bit more understanding of why he was such a quiet baby after that.
Right.
And we kind of look back and, kind of laugh a little at that. And because then when our daughter was born 2 years later, I mean, she was talking as soon as she could get a sound out of her mouth. She had shoes on. She was talking. She was doing makeup and hair. I mean, she's just like, 5 going on 30 is what we used to tell her. She's like sewing already. And oh my gosh, everything she does.
I have 3 girls, right? I have 3 girls and a boy. And let me tell you, Hudson, my boy, he's the most mild-mannered, gentle, and the girls are all like firecrackers. All of them.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, he goes down and his room is downstairs in the corner, and he's got a whole gaming system set up, and it's good for him because he can get away. Yeah. Because boy, sometimes
I bet.
Where's my makeup? Where's my a lot of times when stuff is missing, I always say, my daughter Addison likes to take stuff, and it's like, come on. Yeah. If I can't find anything, I know she's the little culprit.
Well, before we started this show, my mom had bought Anna, our daughter, all this makeup for Christmas, so that they can do Zoom and do makeup together. She's only 9, so she's just playing, and everything. But and so when we started, like, I had literally been a house mom for 10 years who didn't get up, do her hair and makeup or anything. So I had no makeup. So for the first month recording, I was using my kids' makeup every day to get ready.
Hey, well, it works.
It worked. And she was finally like, Mom, do you think you could get your own makeup? It's like,
yes, honey, I'll do my own stuff.
Yep, here we go. So it's been hilarious. They're just so funny, aren't they?
It's kind of cool because they all have their own personalities, and it's just interesting to see how what they're going to grow up, what they're going to do with their lives, and it's a pleasure. It's a privilege too. It's hard right now because they're all in high school, and with everything that's going on, with the pandemic and things, it is a difficult time, but we're just trying to work through it. And that's one of the reasons why I started the podcast. So we started it back this past November. I took a little podcasting class. It's been very informative. It's the Crystal Prophet Podcasting. And she has a wealth of information on there. Anyone who might want to start a podcast, I highly recommend. And I could have Googled, or did YouTube videos on how to do this and how to do that. That would have taken hours and hours and hours. And I'm glad. I still did some of it, but it was good to have that class. It was a good foundation for that. But so the state of Michigan was under, I think, one of the strictest, they had very strict laws regarding, the mask wearing, and right off the bat, and things were closed, and, things got very stagnant, and depressing. And, Sean and I were like, what, why don't we do this podcast? We're very creative people. Let's just get that out there and try to spread some light and joy. And it's been so fun. It's been so fun. We're going to probably take a little break in the summer. And we'll be doing interviews and things like that, but then we'll start our season 2 in the fall, and got a lot of fun stuff planned, interviews planned. So that's been one, and I should say a lot of great things have happened because of, the pandemic that's been going on. I've had the time now, so I'm doing my second book.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. I hope to get it out by this fall. So, all the same characters from A Gray Resorts in the second book. I'm introducing some new characters. I'm very excited to get it out there. So I'm doing the hard part. So right now, I love to free flow write. I just love to write. That's my favorite part of the writing process. So they say, are you a plotter or a pantser? And I'm more of a pantser. Sometimes I don't even know how the chapter is going to go. I just write, I don't have a lot of rules. But you have to go by a certain set of rules, of course. But, in the free flow thing of writing, go, and then you go back and you have to edit and edit and edit. I probably have to edit more than normal since I, just kind of go by the seat of my pants. But so I'm doing the hard part right now, and I'm trying to arrange, the chapters where it would, where the chapters would go. So there's a good flow to it, and I'm trying to edit it as best I can before I take it to editor.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now. I want to get it to, so I self-publish with Book Baby.
Okay.
And, they're great. They have their own graphic design team. They have editing, marketing, everything. So I'm trying to get it good enough to take it to them. And I think in another couple of weeks, I'm going to do that.
Yay.
And, there'll be a lot of back and forth communication, of course, over the months. There will, like with graphic design, the cover, formatting and everything like that. But I'm hoping by later fall to have it out. So I'm so excited to get it out.
Wonderful. What's the name of the new book coming out? We don't know yet, or we're waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I'll tell you off record. I
love it. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I'm so excited for you. Fantastic.
I know.
Well, and I was thinking about something you had said and how hard the pandemic, for your family and for your children that are older, they're teenagers. And not that I feel lucky, but I'm almost glad that mine are so little, that, in 9, it's hard because it's like that time where you're like really exploring and learning and out there playing with your friends at the same time. I don't know if it's as not harmful, but as like, I don't even know how to say it. It's so hard, isn't it? But for a teenager that really just like lives on that social life.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like for my daughter at that age, because her brother doesn't, they play and they love each other, but he is very in his own world, doing his own thing. And it's not until you really enter that with him that he wants to interact very much. Right. And sometimes we're lucky and he does. But, with her, she wants to play with him. She wants to go jump on the trampoline with him. She wants to play cards with him. And he's just very, very fickle, whether he will give her that time or not. And so I would hate for her to have to only need that social piece and not get it at all as a teenager. I can't imagine.
Well, in the high school, they had it closed down for several months, and the seniors missed out on quite a lot of stuff. My daughters, they're juniors now, just missed out on all the social stuff because, you got to be safe, and, they've canceled a lot of things, and we just want to get things back to normal. I'm hoping,
a new normal, right? Yeah, probably never be the same as the old normal, probably but not, we'll do a new normal.
Yeah, it'd just be nice to get things back. To
exactly
by summer. I don't know. Yeah.
And it's just so interesting. Like, I'm sure they probably did online school, and with you, they were old enough to do their own things. And unfortunately, I have to be the teacher at my house, which I've already been homeschooling my son for the last 5 years through an amazing online school program that is through one of the districts here in Utah. And so for us, it was just like, add another kid. Sure. It was okay.
Yeah.
Plus with DJ, this year, we didn't really focus on too many academics because, let's be honest, I don't know math. I don't know calculus and things. Right. So when he can have like a regular online, a tutor that's with him to do that kind of stuff, they can fly off into college. That's great. But nobody was worried about him falling behind this year. So we gave him a little hiatus, and it was nice because I was able to really focus on my daughter, who, as now we've brought home, I've now discovered that she is dyslexic, and she'll also be tested for autism in the next coming month or so. And things I would have never been able to know had I not had her home right here in front of me. Well, I did know about that she was struggling with reading, and I had brought it to first and second grader teachers' attentions. But they wrote it off as, she's so sweet, she's so bright and so smart, emotionally intelligent, really. And so when you face this child that seems so mature, it's like they don't think that they need any support, which is just, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And Yeah, so she came home and now she's like 2 grade levels behind in her reading.
Aw,
And we had to work so hard we had to get her a tutor, but through the online school that we're already a part of, I mean, they're just like, oh yeah, tell us what you need. We'll give you this, we'll give you that, give you that. And so she
good.
got tutoring and her everything is coming up. And then we really started to notice the social aspects of autism that we're presenting. They're so much different in girls than they are in boys.
Yeah.
And with that, we started learning more about kind of what autism looks like in girls, because we've been looking at it in a male perspective for 10 years.
Yeah.
But it certainly is quite different in girls in that they can pick up adult behaviors right away and mimic those behaviors and kind of look like they fit in so well,
Mhm.
but they still lack those impulse controls or those emotional social dilemma where they come up to conflict and then there's just like total meltdown. And so we've been really trying to help her to understand and discover those processes and how to better deal with those things. And yeah,
Well, good.
such a life.
Well, some good things that happened, I feel, from the pandemic. I think it's forcing a lot of people to really think out of the box and to think outside of themselves and kind of dig in deep with certain things. I'm also excited about all the incredible art and music and books and things that are going to be coming out in the next year or two, because everyone has been, not everyone, but staying home and not being able to do normal everyday things. So I'm excited about that. All the stuff that's coming out.
Definitely.
And so that's the good thing that's happened from it.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. No, I think that, and being able to take a good outlook on those things, I mean, that is really what's necessary for everybody is just to try to have a good outlook. And like you said, kind of why you started your podcast, and to just be like, bring some light and some a little bit of joy to people going through this tough time. So yeah.
And I think it's so important to be transparent too, and not like, oh, everything's wonderful. And, and I'm not saying, oh, we got to be joyful and happy all the time. Of course not. That's not, that's not reality.
Yeah.
Everyone has, everyone is going through something of some sort.
Yeah.
Everyone is. And it's so easy, especially like on social media and stuff, if things can get misconstrued, miscommunications, and before you know it, you're blocking each other or whatever. I think we did Sean and I did a podcast on that as well. To maybe like take a step back a little bit and just kind of chill and not be so triggered by wording, because sometimes tone, inclination, and all that can't come across in social media.
Certainly true. Have a little more grace, right?
Yes. Yeah. And actually, mean it, and sometimes I have to, check myself. It's like, okay, how did that come across? And it can be frustrating too, I'm like trying to type a word and a totally different word.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm like, oh. But I just think that, we're all very more similar than one would think, just try and help each other and get through this hard time that seems to be happening right now. And I think we will, for sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. And just try to be joyful and have a lot more laughter. And I can't tell a joke to save my life. I can't.
You and me both.
That's great. But I just, we laugh at each other, and it's just Sean and I, we're having a great time. If I can do podcasting for a long time, I'll be happy.
Absolutely. No, I agree. I think that finding this new outlet for myself and virtual storytelling and just making these connections with people and all of the authenticity of it. It's my superpower and my
I love
favorite
it.
thing to do. So I love it
you know what?
too.
I love your sign behind you. Now I
Oh,
think I need to
thanks.
get a juicy pear sign made.
Yes,
I like that.
absolutely. It was so much fun. And, my family's been so supportive. They've invested in me so
Oh, nice.
much.
That's
Just
so
like,
important.
yeah, my husband went and bought all of this stuff for this podcast, like
Nice.
new desk, all the
Yep.
some of the decorations, and things, but just really was just like, hey, if you're going to do this, we're going to do this right. And we're going to get you good equipment. And I had 12 outfits from Amazon show up on my doorstep. And
Gotta love Amazon.
I'll never shop for myself again, Wendy. Like, I thought I had good taste my whole life. I thought I knew how to wear clothes my whole life until my husband shopped for me instead. And I'm like, what?
Nice.
It was amazing. So I have 12 new outfits for everything. And it's amazing. I just feel so special and so
he sounds
excited.
like a keeper.
Yeah. Oh, 17 years we've been together. So he's not going anywhere. And you know what? In the last 5 years, we actually have realized that he also is on the spectrum. He has Asperger's. And like you said about the art, the incredible art, he's a spray paint artist and a woodworker. And his brain just does and sees things in these incredible ways that I could never. We have a joke kind of about the spray painting. He spray paints these incredible scenes and nature scenes, and I don't know how he does this stuff. They look like they move almost. It's so amazing. And he's, one time I went out there and he was like, okay, just do this and this, and gave me some directions.
Right.
And 45 minutes later, I have a textured blue color. And so every time he says it's so easy, I'm like, no, it's not so easy. So, yeah. But, don't ask him to spell or write a book or all the things that I can do good. So,
well, yeah, I hear you. My husband, we sound like we have similar husbands.
It's so funny.
Yeah, mine is totally opposite of me. Our love language is different, which it's good, but his is acts of service, and he's been very supportive of me.
And that's me too. Yeah.
Very supportive, always there for, when I need something. And it's just, he's been great. And I think that's important too, when you're trying to get off the ground creatively, because you might have, run into people that might not be so supportive,
And that's hard when when people that you love have doubt in you, or, say things that you doubt yourself. I can't. I do have those people in my life, and it's hard to want to call them, but then it's like, okay, now if you call, you just let it run off your back if anything happens, or be prepared for the worst.
There's the people that create, and then there's the people that do nothing but criticize. So you got to decide, you're going to be one or the other, or I don't know.
So true. So true.
You can't let it get you down, though. Do what is, if you're not hurting anybody else, of course, do what makes you happy and joyful, and you're going to find your own people, and you're going to find the people that really connect with you and will support you.
Yeah, I love that. There was a quote that I saw. I'm probably going to say it wrong, but that's okay. But the effect is right. And that is when you accept yourself for who you really are, then you let go of the struggle of trying to be who you think you should be. And it's so true, right? Because
it is true.
People have said to me my whole life, like, oh no, you shouldn't, you can't go be that. You can't be a paralegal. You don't have a bachelor degree. Well, guess who is a paralegal? You can't become a massage therapist. That looks bad, Yeah. Well, I've 10 years, 15 years later, you can't write children's books. You're not an author,
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. I'll write a children's book then. Just these things that people say to you, like someone, a work friend of my husband's just was like, what, does she think she's going to be the next Joe Rogan or something? And I'm like, well, why not? Of course I do. If I didn't want to be something better than I am today, I would be sitting in nowhere land every day with nothing.
Right.
And that's not who I am.
No,
that's okay.
it's hard for me to sit down. My brain's always working on something. And, we've had comments too, like, oh, who would put those two together in a podcast? And, you just got to laugh. It makes me laugh. I'm like,
totally.
Well, good. At least they're talking about us. That's great.
I'm like, vindicate me. I will go there now. I'm like, okay, Joe Rogan, I'm after you. No, just kidding. But yeah, I think that if you can't have big goals, if you don't, what is it?
Right.
Shoot for the moon and land in the stars or whatever it is.
Yeah. You got to at least try and shoot. You never know what's going to happen. Shoot for the stars. Why not?
Why not?
I do kind of believe in reincarnation. Maybe we'll get another chance, but maybe we won't. So it's like, might as well do what makes you happy. The key is trying to make money at it.
No, I agree. And getting that passive income stream coming in on the back end, right?
Yes.
I love it. Well, I have had such a blast. I can't believe how much time has passed. It's been so amazing talking to you, Wendy. And
it's been
what a great connection. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe we just kind of met. And we've been, it's been great chatting with you. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you so much. And I'll make sure to have your book and your links for your podcast, everything down in the description. So you can go and check out a gray resort, don't put a the, and also just look up Wendy Kok if you are interested, and a Juicy Pear podcast.
Yes.
Make sure to
Thank
check
you
that
so
out.
much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. So much fun to have you here today. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Kind of guy that keeps you warm at night when you are cold. I'll grab some blankets from my bed, wrap them around your chest, now pull you close. We'll flip some channels to find out there's nothing on right now to ease your mind. Sit back, relax, there is no rush, no need to speed things up. All we have is time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. The kind of love that we've been dreaming of when we sleep at night. We'll get a little house to live in, have a couple kids, and we'll sleep tight. 'Cause baby, all we really need are just a couple things to stay alive, and everything else in between. Just trust my heart, you'll see. We're slowly coming. Time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. Sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes as spring goes, forever you will know that I love you. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes and spring goes, forever you will know that I love you.